Good morning and welcome to Lattes and Leaders with Dr. Brad Johnson, best-selling author and accomplished public speaker specializing in education and educational leadership. I am your co-host, Jeremy Johnson, organizational psychology consultant specializing in career coaching, training, and development. Meet us here each week to discuss topics in education and leadership and meet with some of the top education talent and thought partners from across the globe. So grab your latte, sit back, and enjoy a relaxed conversation that will leave you informed and encouraged. Welcome to Lattes and Leaders with Dr. Brad Johnson. Today we have a special guest, Tikka Epstein. She is the principal of Ruben P. Diaz Elementary School, and we're just very excited to have you on today. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me here.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, yeah, let's just dive into some questions. Are you ready? You feeling prepared today? Yeah.
She's always
Okay.
prepared.
Always prepared. All right. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey so far?
My journey as a principal, well, I'm starting my second year as a principal in the Clark County School District, and we are excited to start this new school year with an outstanding team of teachers and support staff. We've worked really hard over the summer to get ready for this new school year. We have a new theme, and our theme is We Are All in This Together, because we're all in it to make sure that our students are growing emotionally, socially, and of course, academically. And our staff is very excited to return.
Oh, good. Yeah. So, what are the ways that you implement your theme throughout the school year?
Well, first, we have a little sports eagles all over the school because as a team, we're all working together. So our assistant principal and our support staff and some of our teachers worked hard to create the beautiful eagles all over the place with different teams and different sports. But not only that, uh, our students will also understand that it's not just about being a player, but it's about being the coach and being all parts of the support system. And that's how the team is productive and successful. And that's how we are going to be productive and successful as well.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because it's the whole team always pulling together. It's you know, it takes everybody for sure. I like that.
Definitely. And then we also have um, our the information that we're sharing with our staff. So our assistant principal and I, we've worked really hard all of this summer to make sure that our teachers have choice in what they're doing, but it's also clear in what they're doing. So of course they have the curriculum and we have all of our programs, but they have choice in what structures they're going to use and how they are going to engage the students and how we are going to, right from the get-go, have our morning meetings, but it's their choice on what type of morning meetings they have. And at the end of the day, what type of closure meetings that they're going to have to make sure we wrap it all up
Oh,
in
I
a
like
positive way.
that. Yeah. So I know you. I've been out there to your school and everything. So tell us a little bit about how you, because I know personally that you do, how that you focus on your staff, focusing on their strengths and getting the best out of them, because I know you do a really good job with that.
Thank you. It's all about building relationships. So I'm going into my 31st year in education. And with that, I've learned as a classroom teacher that you have to build relationships with kids, and as a principal, you have to build relationships with your staff. And I love learning about our staff. I know about their kids, their grandkids, about what they like to do, whether they like to hike or they like to do crafting or they have a favorite sports team. So I want to know all about them outside of school so that we have that great relationship inside school as well.
Yeah, I love that. And Jeremy's background is in psychology, and so one of the things we've shared in one of our books that he talks about is that small talk, that learning about them, their family, their life. Man, that's what really builds that trust capital with them, and so that they are more willing to open up and have real conversations when you need them as well. So that is a great way to we don't really like to use the word buy-in, but that really is what's going on. They see that you really care about them as a person and their life, and that allows them, the freedom to open up to you and have conversations. More than that, but man, they really that affirms them as a person and as a professional. So that is a wonderful thing that you do there.
Thank you. And the other thing is, I firmly believe that family always comes first. So, yes, school is our profession, school is a big part of our lives. I was just talking to one of our teachers about we really don't have hobbies because school is our hobby. And we decorate our classrooms because it is our second home. But our family always comes first. And they know that about me, that, if they need to go take care of a loved one, they shouldn't even think twice. They need to let me know and then they go. And if I get to teach their kids, then that's great. It's important that they always think about their family first.
I love that. Yeah.
Brett and I, in our last couple books, we've talked a lot about personality theory. So, what of your qualities do you think has, which ones of your qualities do you think have contributed most to you being a successful leader?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I never forget what it's like to be in the classroom.
Oh, good one.
Mhm.
So, out of my 31 years, 25 of them were in the classroom, kindergarten through fifth grade. And I always say I get to go back into the classroom to teach whenever I do, whether we are short a teacher or I'm asked to come in and teach a lesson. And I'm never afraid to try something new, but I'm always in the thick of it. So just like today, we had a professional learning session, and I was one of the participants because I'm always learning. I always want to learn, and I'm excited about it. I mean, I always say the day that I don't learn something new is the day I need to stop being an educator, because literally every day
Mhm.
of my 31 years, I've learned something new.
That's a great philosophy to have. I feel like lots of people in leadership positions, they forget what it's like to be on the front lines, but the fact that you're there in the thick of it with them is, that's huge for building trust. It's very important. So it's great that you do that. So on the flip side of that, based on your personality, your own qualities, what do you think are the biggest challenges that you faced in your role because of that?
Oh, I can tell you, and my staff will tell you, uh, I go 1,000 miles an hour, 24/7. So I am always excited to try something new. I am always thinking about school no matter what. And sometimes I have to be told, you know what? Take a breath, breathe a minute. Have you been on vacation this summer? And yes, I did take a vacation. But I am a workaholic, and it's by
Mhm.
choice, not because I have to. I love what I do, and so I've been told that not everybody, is go 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 like I am, and that's okay. I'm learning about that as well, but my energy is always about the kids and about my staff, so it works out in the end.
Well, good, good, yeah. Yeah. So this is one that you may take a minute to reflect back on. Tell us about a teacher or two that had the greatest impact on your own personal development.
So there's a couple. The first one is my middle school counselor.
Mm,
So I had a counselor here in Las Vegas at Cashman Middle School. Her name is Joe Schleckaway. And she, to this day, is the most important educator in my life. She took care of me at school when I was really struggling. And in middle school is tough anyway, but I had a lot of things happening during middle school years, and she never stopped supporting me, never stopped believing in me. And so she was the one that said, you know what, I know you're having all of these things happen to you, but you need to continue to push forward. And whenever I felt knocked down, she picked me back up. And to this day, she's always been the most important educator in my life.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we don't hear about, staff outside of, just teachers in the classroom, but they're all important and that's a big deal. There's a lot of kids struggling, so it's really good that you got to have that relationship.
Definitely. And it
Mm,
was 3 years, and it was such an important 3 years to have her. And she, when I needed somebody just to listen, she was there. And if I was having trouble, then she had great advice, but she never judged. And she checked in with my teachers to see, how I could get some help. And so she was always there supporting me, and I'm forever grateful for that.
oh,
Oh,
great.
that's really good. Yeah, and
Mm,
like Jeremy said, it is true. We tend to focus on who are the teachers that influenced you, but yeah, that all staff has that ability. And so I want to give a shout out to our school counselors because of that too, because
mhm.
they're so important. And like Jeremy said, probably now more than ever,
Mhm.
the importance that they have in the school and reaching children. But yeah, all the staff. I always tell people, I can remember my first bus driver. Her name was Miss Green, and that was, Lord, so many years ago that I don't want to admit. But, I still remember, I mean, it was almost 50 years ago. But I remember her and just, her pleasantness and asking, how's your day? Just as a child, I remember that. And, of course, I had a teacher a couple that influenced me. But it is interesting, the people, the staff members too, that everyone's important in the school and they all have that potential to impact students. And I think that's just a wonderful thing. And I think that's a wonderful tribute that you shared with your school counselor. So that was awesome. Thank you.
So this one's a little open-ended. You can go whichever direction you want with this one. So I'll give you a second to think about it. So, what is something that you have accomplished as a leader, or something that you think might inspire someone in a leadership role, or just a general nugget of wisdom that you think educational leaders need to hear?
I think the biggest thing is, like I said before, about never forgetting where you started. So, never forgetting that you're a teacher, because
Hmm.
so much of what I did as a teacher is working as a principal. For instance, families were such a big, important part of me being a successful teacher. I always believe if I have happy kids, I have happy families.
Mm.
And it's important. And I know since COVID, it's been hard to involve the families, but it's always important to involve the families, not just for the celebrations. They need to be in the thick of it. So it's the last year we've had our families here at school for different activities. And this year they're going to be part of walking around and noticing what teachers do and noticing what their students do. But getting the families involved so that they know what their kids are doing and what the teachers are doing. And that way they have more of a partnership and an understanding of the expectations. And then they will push their kids to work even harder. So, if I could give any leader advice, is remember that it's not just within our four walls of our staff and our students, it's the family and the community. And that's a big part of what makes Riven PD as elementary school successful, is that we have our community support, we have our family support, and then our kids want to work just as hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I almost share this on every podcast at some point. But I think we undervalue the importance of that parent-school connection, especially when you think about children spend most of their waking hours from the age of 4 or 5 till 17 or 18 in a school building. And so there shouldn't be that big divide between, the community and the school, the family and the schools. We really do need to focus on bringing them together, like you said, and engaging the parents. And that when the children see that, that helps them become more engaged. So I think that's a wonderful thing that you're doing with that, and will be very beneficial as well.
Thank you. They love being at school. The parents, they want to be at school. They want to experience what their kids are experiencing. They want to have time to work with their kids, read with their kids. We had summer acceleration here for 3 weeks, and we had a parent activity each week. And on the very last day, we had close to 200 parents here reading with
Oh,
their
wow.
kids and choosing books
Wow.
and just having breakfast with their kids. And that is so important because the kids are saying, oh, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, my caretaker is here, and they are excited to be here, as and then the child will want to be here as well.
We interviewed a professor from Finland, and he made a very just a brilliant quote that he said someone had actually shared with him over there. I think it was like the director of training for teachers at the university over there. But he said that school should be the place or one of the places that children love to be more than anywhere else. And I'm like, that's very profound because most students don't. They dread school, they leave defeated. Man, for it to be one of the places that they love to be more than anywhere else, that would just be magical almost. So I love that that's your focus too, and desire to have that because, man, what a great culture that creates.
Definitely.
Mhm. There's a wealth of research on workplace culture and motivation. And so, that carries through to schools. There's always a lot of talk about, motivating the kids. And, the environment is just a huge factor for that. And, it kind of gets skipped over sometimes. But, it's really important, welcoming, inviting, your team-based initiative this year. I mean, it's all important and it all goes hand in hand. So that's great.
Thank you. And I think having our staff be part of the rebranding of our school is going to be very helpful. It wasn't
Mm,
my AP and I doing it. It was they were all hands on. They chose the theme of having the team of sports, and then we just added the part of we are all in this together. And then they participated in decorating the whole school, and they had so much fun doing it, and they are look forward to coming back to school in the fall because they know how excited the kids are going to be.
Mm,
great. Yeah. Yeah.
love it.
So we talk a lot about how necessary self-care is, especially for those in education. There tends to be a decent amount of burnout, you know, stress, anxiety over time. So how do you take care of yourself? What's your thing?
Spending time with my family.
Mm,
My husband and I are empty nesters now. And
Mm,
so spending time with him and our two dogs. And then I'm very lucky that my son and future daughter in law live here in Las Vegas. So I get to spend time with them. And then my daughter and her significant other are really far away in New Hampshire. But, just making that contact with them every day, that feeds my soul. That
yeah.
if I get to spend time with my family, nothing else needs to happen.
mm.
Yeah. Good. Good. Do you feel like you do a good job of balancing the work life?
No, not at all.
No. No.
No,
Yeah, I don't think
and I
anybody
have yet
is.
to do it. Um, we were we were reminiscing when we visited my daughter and her significant other, um, because they're teachers' kids, right? My children are adults, but they will tell you that when they were in school, I was a teacher in the same school they attended, and we lived very close to the school. And so grocery store time was, oh, there's Mrs. Epstein. I can talk to her about the homework. oh, there's Mrs. Epstein at the pool. We can have a parent teacher conference. And my son will tell you that going to the store was rough, because it took an extra 45 minutes instead of just getting in and out of there. But in the long run, again, I have relationships with my students over the last 31 years. I have a group of fourth graders I taught in 2000 to 2001, and I'm still in contact with 90% of them and their families.
Wow.
And all school and students thereafter and before, I'm still in contact with their families and them. I've attended weddings and bar mitzvahs and christenings and you know uh, just different events in their lives. And I never want to be the one that says, oh, I've had too many of those, because it's essential part of being a good educator, being able to, build those relationships, and also to see what happens next in their lives. In elementary school, you see them for the 180 days, maybe a couple of years after, if you teach the lower grades, but it's neat to see the adults that they've become. And um, they'll tell you, I know I was rough. I know I had a hard time. I know you had to remind me of stuff, but thank God you did, and you didn't give up on me. And it's so important. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I always say if you've been around long enough, you get to see some of them grow up to be adults, and they usually turn out to be pretty good adults. So that's why
Yes.
it's so important to be patient with them and, help mold them to become the best they can be. Is there, so you're in Vegas, and everybody knows I love Vegas. Is there any particular challenges being in a city that is Vegas? We have the entertainment. I'm sure there's a lot of transient people from the shows and hotels, and I'm saddened that the Mirage is about to be torn down. That was the iconic place for me. But as far as the transient and the people and stuff, is there any particular challenge to being in Vegas?
Well, Las Vegas has the fifth largest school district in the nation. And a lot of people, when I say that, they're like, Las Vegas has that many kids? We have over 327,000 kids. We
Wow.
are the second largest employer in the state. And when you think
Wow.
of all of that, and what's happening with education these days, you it makes it tough, because yes, we have transiency. We have kids that come and go constantly. But in the last few years, we have worked as a district to be more consistent. And I'm a product of the Clark County School District, and I'm one of those transient kids. I went to many different schools my whole life. And when I would go from one school to the next, I couldn't just continue on. It was, oh, I struggled because it wasn't a continuation. It was a new program. It was a
Mm.
new concept. It was a new standard, where now we have a consistent quality tier one instructional program for literacy, for science, and for math, and for social studies. And so our kids that do move around, they won't have that problem. There won't be a gap. It will
Okay.
be that they can just continue on. But the problem is that our kids are chronic absenteeism. So, and I know that's not a
Mm.
CCSD problem or a Las Vegas problem, that's a country problem. But it's again bringing in the families, having them understand the importance of education, um, to ensure that our kids are coming to school, and that they love school, and that they understand the why it's important to come to school, what they're learning, and how they know they've learned it. Because chronic absenteeism is getting worse
Mm.
every single year. So, what we've done here at Diaz is that kids don't receive an award for not having any absences. We actually have celebrate family celebrations. So every quarter,
Mm.
we look through our data, and we determine, okay, this child has had one or zero absences, and then one or zero tardies. And when they have that, we invite the family to come in for a celebration. So we've had movie nights, we've had play with your adult, so they get to go and play tetherball with their dad. They get to go play football with their mom. They get to throw water balloons. We've had ice cream socials, and everybody just loves it because, again, spending quality time with their family, and the families are understanding how important it is to bring their children into school. So this past year, our chronic absenteeism has dropped. In our school, we're down to 17.9% chronic absenteeism. And our goal for 24-25 is 15% or less.
Mm.
Yeah, if they're not at school, they can't learn. That's easy. So I think we have one last question, and it's a toughie. So, but this is called Lattes and Leaders. So, what is your hot beverage of choice? Is it coffee, latte, espresso, cappuccino? What is it?
So I have a rocking chair back behind me, and it says that I am the Starbucks queen. I love Starbucks, and I drink a mocha frappuccino at least once a week. Uh, gotta have my Starbucks. So I have that, and then in the winter, I've gotta have my hot cocoa. I love it.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
excellent.
Perfect. All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us and answering a few questions. And yeah, we thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
This has been Lattes and Leaders with Dr. Brad Johnson. We hope that you leave today feeling informed and inspired. For more educational content, be sure to add this podcast to your list and follow Dr. Johnson on any and all social media platforms. For more information on Dr. Johnson, Jeremy Johnson, and special guest, check out drbradjohnson.com. That is DOCTOR, bradjohnson.com. Hope to have you back soon.